Okay. Call to order.
Beckwith,
Here.
Caldwell,
Here.
Farkapisi. Here. Ketman.
Here.
Kotsinis absent. Linsdau
Here.
and Sutton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning.
First new business.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion that we postpone the first new business group until our donor arrives. Anyone want a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Public comment? Nothing. Okay, consent agenda is on the second page there. Can I have a motion on that?
Before the consent agenda, we have to do comments.
I'm sorry, I said that.
Do we have skipped that one?
There weren't any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. Discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay. Let's see, President's Report, page 17. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Anyone else have a report? No one? Okay. Committee reports, pages 19 through 21. Questions, comments, concerns? Well, through 22, because we had the Finance Committee meeting separate. Okay. Okay, Executive Director's Report, page 25. You want to say anything?
I don't have anything specifically to comment on.
Questions? Comments? Okay. All right, so shall we just go back to the beginning now?
Yes. So we need to make a. So we need to make a motion to go back to first new business.
Do we?
I think so.
I don't, okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we go back to first new business.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. She's signing in.
Find this for me.
Okay, all set? Yeah. Welcome.
Hi.
Good to see you. Okay, we are at item 4 on the agenda, first new business. A, Board Policy 2022 Endowment Fund. Can I have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
So moved. I'll second that. Any discussion? Policy's on page 6. Okay, let's have a roll call.
Ketman,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Kotsinis absent. Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
All right, next is the ordinance on page 8. This is an ordinance to establish the endowment fund. It's on page 8. Who would like to make a motion for that, please?
One thing.
Uh-huh.
The one that's in the packet, it says passed by the board of the library trustees, obviously a typo, should be passed by the board, so.
The one that we'll sign has the typo corrected. Do we have a motion? I'm sorry, I lost track. Sorry.
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion? Andrea.
And
Sorry, we're going too fast.
that's okay, that's okay.
Any discussion? All right, let's have a roll call on this too, please.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Getman,
Aye.
Katsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay, and item C is the acceptance of Nancy and Irv Sheldon's donation to establish the endowment fund. I'll make the motion. I move that the board acknowledge the generosity of Nancy and Irv Sheldon with grateful acceptance of their donation of $25,000 for the establishment of an endowment fund to benefit the Warren Newport Public Library District and its users for years to come. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, let's have a roll call.
I have discussion.
Oh, you have discussion, okay.
Yes, I just think it's really wonderful that one of our patrons has stepped up to such a worthy cause, and just, I really appreciate it.
Okay, roll call.
Katsinis,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Getman,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say thank you to the board, especially Joe, and to Ryan for making this whole thing able to work.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
And,
Nancy.
I am leaving town tomorrow morning. However, I believe I can take care of this next week.
Okay.
Sure.
We have a couple little things, just, can you stay for a few minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So one is this.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry you're leaving town. Here.
You take it on the plane.
And then, of course, a little
Maybe you can
snack.
dump the water.
Oh. What?
And gluten-free.
Okay, I'm passing these down. I brought one gluten-free one. Okay,
Saying that this is my lunch and dinner.
come and sit with us.
And dinner?
The firm provided bagels. I had breakfast. You get that.
Here's some.
I better take two.
You should tell the Boy Scouts that happens
Can we get it?
Oh.
I'm not fast.
Oh, okay.
Your mind, is it okay, Nancy? Joe?
Joe, you should be in there.
Joe, come on.
Come on.
Joe.
Excuse me. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Oh, it looks like we might have extras.
Yeah,
Could
I
we
did
invite
that on
the
purpose, yeah.
audience?
And one
Yeah.
of the things we should say, especially since the Boy Scouts are here.
Did everyone get one?
No. So Nancy Sheldon, Nancy is someone that has served on the board of trustees before. All these trustees you see, they serve for 6-year terms. It's volunteer hours. They don't get paid to do this job. And it's a thankless job sometimes. So not only did Nancy serve on the board, but she's also donating this money to establish this endowment fund. And what this endowment fund will do is we'll use the earnings from this endowment fund to help the library. So this is something that's gonna benefit the library for decades and decades. So if you guys have children and grandchildren, they're gonna reap the rewards of the endowment fund. So you're here on a historic occasion. So down the road, when you hear about some of the need from the WNPL, endowment fund, you can think, I was there when it was established, so.
That you're here tonight.
I think so.
Yeah, they
have some.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, has everybody had one? That one's one?
Maureen, do you want something, Maureen? Okay, this might be.
Maybe it's a maybe. I don't know. We'll have to look. We'll look at it.
Yeah, the gluten-free one.
I happen to have one at home. I never had cupcakes, but I happen to have one.
I know, she can do it. Yes, she can do it, yeah.
I can do what?
Manage gluten-free
Take away my
baking.
glue.
No, it's, I looked up some
Yeah,
stuff
what
too
happened?
for that very reason and
I'm gonna grab some napkins. Excuse me. Thank you.
I think if you chose a night to come on, you chose the right
We
night.
never have snacks, so this is really
That's the
good.
last meeting.
No, they're under new business because a couple people were absent.
Okay, good.
I forget who, but somebody.
Somebody.
You. Kathleen too, I think. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Speak with my mouth full.
I did 6 years with Park District. We never had trees.
We never had.
Oh,
Wrong board.
you weren't doing it right then. We have treats. Okay. Are we ready to go on? All right,
Back to business.
back to business, sorry.
Business
Let's see, so, where were we?
7.
Nothing.
Did we do executive director's report?
Yep.
We did, okay. So, unfinished business is the skylight update.
Oh yeah, now so if you read the memo in the packet, it was all rosy, right? Hey, everything was good. The project was great. Well, unfortunately, on Saturday we experienced a leak. Now, if there's any good news, it's that it was minimal. It was like a drop every 10 minutes or so. But the bad news is this is where this new skylight was installed.
Oh, no.
If you should have a handout. If you don't,
The picture?
so if you look at the picture, you'll notice that in that middle circle, that cross section is where that far panel, again, kind of on the south side of the building was where that failed before, you might recall. And it was like that exact same cross section where that was failing before. So that one seems to be okay, but now we've got this. So they're coming this week to examine and take a look and see if they can figure out what happened. And this is a brand new installation. Shouldn't have happened. We're obviously not happy about it. And I don't have any, until they look at it, I can't really tell you anymore. There's also in the upper left-hand corner, there is this panel that looks a little bit discolored. I don't know if you can tell in the photo or not if you look closely. And while they're here, we want them to look at that. I don't know if that's what that is, so they'll take a look at that. And then if you go to the next page, it's just a different angle of the same pictures.
How much water actually came in?
Not a lot. I mean,
I see the bucket.
Yeah, when we looked at that bucket on Monday, there was nothing in there. So it's talking about a normal leak, but a leak's a leak.
And at least we found it in a small.
Yeah, but the problem with leaks is that it's these are notoriously difficult things to diagnose in terms of if you've got a leak. So anyway, I wish I had better news. I don't, and I'll have more news for you at the next meeting, maybe even
First,
sooner.
the architect who thought those windows were a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, not that we're architects, but the common sense. You see that design. It seems like those panels would be better served if they were upright, and the design was different in the building. But that's what we got. So.
Yeah.
some of
Any
us
other
were
que-
trustees when this was put in, so.
Uh-oh, watch it.
I said the architect.
Oh, good. Thanks.
I didn't say
But
the
you approved it.
trustees.
We did.
All right, any other questions on that? Okay. All right, now our second group of new business starts with the levy ordinance. Why don't we have a motion and then can you
Yeah,
explain? Okay.
absolutely.
Can someone make a motion, please?
So moved. I'm learning from Kat.
I'll second. Okay, discussion and,
Page 41.
yeah,
Here, it's,
page 41, thank you.
so this is one of the, I'm gonna explain for both, all, current board members, especially new board members, and then the scouts that are here this evening. So our budget process, it goes on for months. Really, we established, the board passes a budget, the last couple of years, we've been passing it in June, essentially, so the budget was passed in June. So then, in August, there's something that we prepare called the tentative budget and appropriation ordinance. And that is a kind of an early version of the budget that says what you're going to budget and then what you're going to appropriate. And I'll talk about appropriation in a minute. So then there's a public hearing that has to happen no later than the fourth Tuesday in September. And so the tentative budget appropriation ordinance is published, and the public get a chance to look at it. And if some member of the public they want to come and give the board feedback about the budget, they can at that time. After the public hearing, the board approves the final budget and appropriation ordinance, and we're at the next step of the process, which is the levy. So just to explain briefly, without going on and on, about like a budget versus appropriation. So as an example, we have a bookmobile, right?
Yeah.
The bookmobile, we budget about $18,000, a little bit over $18,000 for maintenance of the bookmobile. So maybe the bookmobile needs to do tires, or the air conditioner breaks down, we need to replace it, or just gas or oil changes. But what happens if there's a major repair in the bookmobile that requires more than we budgeted? That's why we appropriate more. So in the case of the bookmobile, we appropriated $25,000. So that way, if with the budget, you try to stay under your budget, but if you have to go over in a certain category, since the board has appropriated that, the library has the authority to spend that money. So if we needed to spend more to fix the engine, going in the bookmobile, we could. And in the event you'd have to spend more than that, then we would come back to the board, and the board would have to appropriate. You change the budget appropriation ordinance, make a new ordinance to amend it. So we're at the point of the process where we're doing the levy. So what is the levy? The Warren Newport Public Library has taxing authority, and what the levy is, it's basically we're telling the Lake County what dollars to collect, levy, collect, and deposit on behalf of the library district. This is really important for us because local tax revenue is approximately 93% of our budget. So this is where most of our budget comes from. We get very little support from the state and other resources. So this is really the major piece of our budget.
May I say something?
Sure, please.
Property taxes your parents are complaining about, this is the levy. Our part. We just have a little tiny piece though.
So, right. So how does it work? How is that amount determined? So basically what happens is at the county level, there are people that assess property, and they give that property a value. There's something called the equalized assessed valuation. It's the worth of all the property in the library district. And that is important because that's kind of, that determines what the property is worth, and then when you compare a tax rate to it, what money comes in. However, there's a limit on that. It's not that library district or school district or park district can just levy whatever amount they want. It's controlled by something called PTEL, and PTEL stands for Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, and people refer to it as a tax cap. So what PTEL says is that when we do our levy, we can receive no more than 5% of what was extended last year, or the consumer price index, whichever is lower. So in the case of this levy, the consumer price index is 2.1%. So that would be the maximum we could get over our extension last year, essentially. So if you think of why we have the PTEL, well, it's obviously to limit what taxpayers have to pay, and it's kind of like your baseline, right? So you have your baseline, so essentially we're collecting what we collected last year, plus that inflationary bump is built in, which is the consumer price index in this case. And then any additional properties that new growth also come in. Because if you think about it, let's say you have a new nursing home that is built in the community. We're committed to providing the same level of service to that nursing home. But that does require additional expense on the library's part, right? So if our bookmobile goes to all the assisted living facilities or nursing homes, we've got to pay for staff to go and take the bookmobile to the nursing home, right? We talked about that. We need to pay for gas and all that kind of stuff. So that new growth would get added into this pot. So we could extend that same level of service to that new growth in the community. And this is to provide the same level of service provided the year before. So what if, I'll take the schools for example. This is kind of a ridiculous example, but I want to use this one because it kind of illustrates the process. Let's say the Warren Township High School decided they wanted to build a new football field with artificial turf and a retractable roof and all these fancy things. Well, it would cost a lot of money to do that, probably more than they would have. So the school would have to go to the voters, and the voters would have to decide whether they wanted to fund this. And the voters would decide the merits of that. Now, probably the voters would decide, you already have a pretty nice football field. You don't need all that fancy stuff. But in some cases, maybe there's a new facility that's required, or maybe there's a new service that the library or school or park district want to offer, and the voters would decide, okay, that's more service than that government body is providing now. So the voters may decide, okay, we do want to approve that tax increase. So I think hopefully that's it in a nutshell. I hopefully didn't confuse anyone, or that makes sense what this process is. So this levy is basically going to determine the amount of taxes that are going to be levied that the library district will collect in essence. So it's an important ordinance that the board will pass here tonight. I don't know if any board members want to add anything.
Questions?
Did you understand what he said? We're gonna quiz you.
There's no quiz.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion, right?
Yes,
Okay, so let's have a roll call.
Did we have a second?
yes, Joe Beckwith and the faculty.
Any questions from the board about this?
The only question I had is the reduction in levy for the debt service, et cetera, from last time. How does that factor in next year?
What do you mean has a factor in? So it does reduce so whenever they look at the extension, typically what the county would do is look at the previous year's extension, but basically there's like a 3-year window to go back. So in essence, it would look at this last year's extension. So it wouldn't look at this amount, it would look at the previous year's amount.
Got it.
Anybody else? Okay, let's have roll call.
Sutton,
Aye.
Ketman,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Farkapisi, Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay. Minutes for last month. Brian and I are trying to remember to put this under new business when we have people who miss and need to abstain. So can I have a motion for this?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, it has to be a roll call.
Caldwell,
Abstain.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Ketman,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
I thought Kathleen missed.
What, I'm sorry?
Did you miss last time?
Was meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then that's an abstain.
Abstain, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay.
That's what she said.
Did she?
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye, I'm not sure where we are right
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry.
Thank you.
All right, financials.
Okay. My turn here. So I took a look at the financials and I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So we got a refund from credit card fees of 2002. Yay, but I'm wondering why.
Yeah, I asked Doug about that today, and he was going to look into it because I we weren't sure, but, so I will let you know.
Okay, let us know at the committee of the whole.
Okay.
And newsletter printing. We're $450 over for the first quarter. So if we're over every quarter by 450, we're gonna be at 1,800 over for the year, or is that just the one printing?
That's a good question.
Okay, we'll report back to us at committee. of the
Yeah,
whole.
thank you. Sorry, I don't know.
And it's not a lot of money. We budgeted 2,000 for classified ads, and in the first quarter, we've already spent $794 of it. Is it because we're having a lot of turnover, or we're just not finding people, we have to do more postings?
Well, in this case, it's specific to where there was turnover, because we lost 2 people in IT facilities. So those
Oh.
jobs, unlike a lot of jobs with the library, will post it on Rails, and the cost to advertise is low. But with the IT job or facilities job, if we post on Rails, we're not going to get,
I mean, I won't be surprised, because the unemployment rate's less than 5% in Chicagoland, and everybody's having trouble finding people.
Yeah. So that's specific to just those specific jobs in that case.
Those are my only questions, other than for checks, but I will save that till afterwards.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions regarding financials? So each month, we go over the financial statements from the library. And usually everything is explained, but anything I have a question about, I ask. Which even you guys can answer, it's open to the public. So, okay, anything else to report? I do have a question about the endowment account. Do we have to sign anything for that? Is that, now that we've approved it, we're gonna have signature cards, or how do we authorize that physically?
With that account, it's the donor has, we give them that information so they can put the money in the account. But there's
do
nothing.
we have to sign anything other than the ordinance that we've already
No,
passed?
when the board voted to establish that account with Gurney Community, that was done, those things were signed.
Okay.
So we're all set with that.
Okay. I have nothing else. Okay.
Want to make a motion on the financials?
Oh, I move to accept the financial statements as presented.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, treasurer's report.
As you saw in the board packet, when I received it, I was sending it electronically as soon as possible. I don't have it yet. So we have, we can get this done at the next month. So this will be on the agenda for the December meeting.
Okay. All right, year-end bonuses.
So this is something that, in terms of the bonuses themselves, the money for the bonuses, the board already approved this during the budget process. So historically, at the November meeting, the board makes this great motion recognizing our wonderful staff, and then Joe will do her magic and write a nice memo to staff about how much the board appreciates them, and then they'll receive these bonuses prior to the holidays.
It's really just a token. It's $50, and is it still $50?
Yeah.
$50, and they get actually a check for $50. So any payroll tax are grossed up.
Good.
So they end up with the net
That's
$50, not $42.05. And also the payroll taxes are included in the budget. So as long as we vote yes, they get just an extra
That's
$50.
nice.
Okay, who would like to read the motion?
I'm signing checks.
I'll move that the board celebrate WNPL's wonderful library staff for their service to our community, and that we acknowledge their excellent work with the staff bonuses included in the current budget prior to December 31, 2017.
I'll second.
Okay, let's have a roll call, please.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Caldwell,
Abstain.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Ketman,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay, so this is just me putting the semi-annual review on your radar. We need it for the January regular meeting, Bonnie and Tom, so just throwing it out there, that's it.
Sounds good.
Per capita grant, that's you.
So, a small, very small part of our budget is the per capita grant, the Illinois Public Library per capita grant that we received through the state of Illinois. Now, due to the budget issues in the state, we have not received even last fiscal year's per capita grant from the state. But rumor on the street has it that we might see that in March of 2018. Don't lock me into that, but in any event, there are requirements for the per capita grant. And these are the 3 years of requirements. So if you read through this and you thought, oh my gosh, we have a lot to do the next month, it's okay. It's just the FY18 requirements. So one piece of that is in your packet. So I'm basically just asking all the board members to look at chapters 1 through 5 of Trustee Facts File, 3rd edition. So that's in your packet. Not that we're going to go through that tonight.
Also, if you're an online reader, there's a link to this in the trustee orientation, the extranet. You can read it online too if you prefer to do that.
Do you want me to send out a link tomorrow?
We had to read it
Would
for
that be
tonight.
helpful, or?
I did too, I was
I did.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. I should have clarified. But it's
That's okay,
good. It's done. Yeah.
I'm done now.
And then continuing education. So staff have already completed the, we had a whole staff development day on safety in the library. So at the next committee of the whole meeting, I'm working with Eddie Christon to watch a short continuing education video about safety in the library. So we have a number of different options. So I'm going to work with Eddie to pick the one I feel is most appropriate for the board. 5 to 10 minutes.
Were there two things that we had to watch, or was it just that?
I think there were 3 things. At least I located them.
And then, well, remember, it's just the FY18 requirements. And then the outreach, yes, there's a website. Just basically, library staff and trustees will familiarize themselves with services provided by the Illinois State Library Literacy Program. And in addition to looking at that on your own, I think at the committee level, we'll look at that briefly and talk about it. So it's not; these aren't daunting requirements for the per capita grants, but.
Ryan, excuse me, are the Cyber Drive Illinois, that website there listed, is that?
That's a
you can find that
secretary's.
information on that, or no?
Yeah, and I'll send out links
Okay.
tomorrow to the board, so you have them. You just click on them. Yeah, Cyber Drive Illinois. I believe that's the
Yeah,
Secretary of State's
Secretary of
website.
State, right?
Because remember, the state library,
We fall
Jesse
under the
White is the state
Secretary of State.
librarian.
You do? Okay.
Right.
Okay, I thought that was peculiar, okay, thank you for.
No, he's the state librarian.
Okay, anything else on that?
Secretary of State is also state librarian?
Constitutionally in the state, yes.
Okay, I didn't
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
He's
Now-
not trying
now-
to put his picture in our lobby.
Yeah, I mean, at the Illinois State Library, essentially, there's someone that is I can't recall the title off the top of my head, but that used to be what's her name? Because she went on to run the academic libraries in Illinois.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of her name? Anyway, there's an interim now, so there's someone that kind of serves the function of the.
And something.
Oh yeah,
And whatever.
and Craig.
And Craig.
That's it. And Craig. So yeah, he is, and like that person is like the day-to-day things that the state librarian would do. But in a way, it's really good for Illinois libraries that the Secretary of State is the state librarian. I think politically that's a good thing. So he's a big supporter of libraries.
Okay, anything else on that? Any other questions? Okay. Opt-in. You want to talk about that? or-
Sure. No, I just want to. This is something that I mean, I welcome the board to have a conversation this evening. But one of the things that that has occurred to me since committee of the whole is going back and talking to staff about this. I did indicate to the board that the management team met and they recommended that this feature be enabled. And I guess I didn't realize how strongly they felt about it. So I know that staff wanted to have an opportunity to present some information to the board. So there wasn't really enough time to prepare that for tonight. So I'm recommending to the board carry this over into December, to have a conversation at the December committee of the whole, and then having a possible vote on this at the December regular meeting, unless there are any objections to that.
Also, am I remembering right, there were two people who couldn't be here when we talked about it, and we really
That's
didn't
true.
get to a consensus, so it'd be, better to do it when everybody was here too, so. Okay, that's fine, we can postpone. Okay, items
So
for.
wait, we're not doing that tonight?
No, because the staff wants to give us their input, and they didn't
Oh.
have time to prepare it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I was distracted by Sunny Chunks.
Yeah,
I can understand
don't get
that.
so distracted.
There's one in here for 600.
I know, that distracted me.
Okay, any other agenda items that you want, people want to have on for December? Anything? Okay,
Well, obviously move that there. You probably did, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
You probably put the reading history out in there, right?
Yes, I have it
Yeah, okay.
on my list,
Perfect.
yeah. Mhm. Okay, anyone want to make a motion for exec session, please?
So moved.
I'll
Do we
second.
need to read the whole
Sorry?
thing?
Let's read the whole thing, just so
No.
we have it,
No.
because it's,
Of what it, why we're going.
Page
Yeah.
are we on?
On three.
Okay, all those in favor?
Do we have to read the whole
We
thing?
want to read the motion.
We do? Okay.
Hey, Joe, do you want to talk about what executive session is for the schedule?
Oh, yeah, so.
Yeah,
So an executive session is where the board is allowed to meet away from the public, with the public not here, and the law dictates the circumstances under which we can do that. So we can't just go to private, to an exec session, because we don't want you to hear it. We only can go for a specific reason, and tonight we're discussing the performance of the executive director. It's the time of year when he gets evaluated by the board. So the board will discuss his performance this month, and then next month we'll have another executive session with him present to tell him our findings. So to prepare for this, we've had a survey, we've collected information, Ryan has written a self-evaluation, and we're gonna talk about all that in exec session.
And it might take a while, so
Yeah, you're welcome to stay.
Don't
Um,
make him nervous.
you don't have to.
Of all the duties that we have, this is one of the top 3 things that we do. It's one of the most important things we do. So we want to make sure that we give it our time and that we do a thorough job for Ryan and for the library.
Actually, you've witnessed all 3 of those top 3 things we do here tonight. We levy for taxes to pay for your library. That happened tonight. We hire and evaluate the director, which is happening tonight. And we create the policies of the library, which are all the policies from what are the late fines to when people get banned from the library for misbehavior, you name it. We have policies for it.
So tonight, we had one that was routinely on our consent agenda. It was up for a review, and so it was not much change. We put it on the consent agenda. And then we had that brand-new policy at the beginning, 2022, to cover how we're going to deal with our new endowment fund. So we had 2 kinds of policies on for tonight.
So feel free to run. This is public office. We're all elected.
That's right.
You guys can run too.
We can always use good trustees in the
18.
pipeline.
I'll have to
18.
ask. I think
18.
Andrea moved, and
18,
I don't know who seconded. Could you refresh our memories, who moved for the exec session and who
I did, but I'm
seconded?
going to read it.
She's going to read the.
Okay.
I move that the board enter into executive session 5 ILCS 120/2C1 to discuss the performance of the executive director.
I second. Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Did we get that?
no, we didn't.
Are we on?
Yes, we are back on.
Okay. It is 9 o'clock and this meeting is reconvened. Public forum.
Oh, Brian, did you give him that thing about this?
I will. The word not,
That's
yes.
No public forum. Announcements.
I'm just gonna distribute this. So the weekly newsletter from 56 mentioned our collaboration with,
Oh, cool.
yeah, so let me,
And we just got the numbers, 882 signed up for cards, got cards, and we've got 116 have already checked out.
Wow.
Yay!
it's pretty good,
Really
yeah.
Good job. Thank you. That's so great. Yeah, I did everything.
Yeah. So announcements, committee of the hole's the 5th, December regular meeting the 19th. Was yesterday the bookmobile anniversary?
The library
Yes.
is now closed.
Cool, how many?
45.
45 years.
I had,
We parked out front and the people came out.
Yeah, I
Over
see. Yeah.
55 people.
You check out the Facebook.
I
We did a
did put it
Facebook
on my
Live, yeah.
Facebook, and I got, this is why I ended up getting this little note from a teacher that, about it.
Okay, so does anyone else have any announcements?
Yes, actually, a person I work with at Grass Lake School has recently moved into WNPL, and her kids are avid readers, and they love the fact that when they ask about a new book that we don't have, that we're very accommodating and order that book. Her son's a 5th grader at Milburn, and they were tasked with, what do you appreciate in the month of November? 3 things. First one was family, second one was books. I appreciate books at the Warren Newport Public Library because books have gotten me through about 50% of my life. This boy's 10. They are my way to just escape from the world.
Oh.
If I ever had something go wrong, I would read and be okay.
Oh.
And so I
Nice.
said, I'm going to share that with my niece.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's just what you
That
want to hear.
makes the work we do
Right?
here worthwhile.
I know.
It really does.
So that's Gavin Kingery from Milburn School, grade 5.
Awesome.
I know, it's pretty awesome.
Anyone
That's all I have to
else?
say.
You have anything? No one else? Anyone
Move
want to
to
move to adjourn?
Can we adjourn?
Already done, moving, so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.